everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a design team project for Polka Art Studio on Etsy. I will show you the kit first, which I have in front of me, and I will also link the shop and the kit below that I'm using today, so you can go check them out, and hopefully these projects will inspire you. So let's take a look at the kit. So this is all kinds of embellishments, and I have seen some of the videos already that Andrea from Polka Art Studio has done on these embellishments. And this particular kit is a journaling cluster tags kit. So let's go ahead and look at this. Just cut out each of these. Now this is just on regular copy paper right now. It has some backing papers. And these would be fun just to make some creations out of this as well. But you can also add these to the backs of your tags as you make them, so you can have them with something fun on the back side. These I'm not going to use today, but yeah, feel free to print your tags and then print these on the back side. Here's some more of these. I just love all these. They're grungy. They've got all kinds of metal pieces that looks like it's in there. I mean, they're just awesome. She's done a beautiful job on this. This one. There is a total of 10 pages, and you've got some larger ones, you've got some smaller ones that you can see. And yeah, so you've got a variety of things that you can do with these, and I'll show you what I have come up with in just a moment. And then look at this. You can use some of these to layer. Again, I'm not using this one, but I am using several of the tags. Okay, here are the pieces that I created using some of these tags. So I've got 5 different types of embellishments that you can make. So this one is a book plate, and I have put leather behind it. I have stitched on it, and then I've added these brads, so you can see the stitching on the back side. So that's the book plate that we're going to make. This is a page tab, and I have just used 2 of the same items. There's 2 on there. And then I added this little dangle here using a jump ring and using a very small eyelet and a larger eyelet here. So how this works is you have your page like this, and then you would just glue this onto the side. And then you've got it on the front and you've got it on the back. Now I have printed all of my pieces onto photo mat paper, but mine is much thinner. So all that I have done on these is just back them with a craft cardstock, and then I have also grunged around them with some scorched timber. So I will show you that when we go to do these. These here are rub-ons. These are Tim Holtz rub-ons, so just use whatever you have in your stash to embellish these. Now this one is just made with a brad, so it can move like this. So it's a fun thing to clip to your page. You can just tuck it into a pocket, whatever you want to do with these. And you can have one sticking out, or you can have all of them on in one layer here. Yeah, so there's this one. The 4th one is a dangle. So all I have done is taking 3 different tags and then layering them. I have put eyelets in each one of them, and then I have added this sari silk onto it. So that is this one. Pretty simple. These are pretty simple to do, so if you're new to junk journaling or any kind of embellishments, this would be a perfect one for you. This one is a hidden paper clip. So you can see the paper clip here, of which I've added a dangle, a tiny eyelet here, and using a bulb pin. And this is two-sided as well. So I've just taken two of the tags. I have taken some craft paper to create the hidden paper clip. So again, this would go on your page, but it is removable. And if it's this way or vertical, you can put one up at the top. If it's vertical, horizontal, you can add them at the side, and they're fun to have out, hanging out of your journal and just creating a fun element in your journal. So we are going to make some of each of these. Okay, let's start with the book plates. So this is pretty simple. This is just a piece of leather. It's a scrap piece. You can get these at Hobby Lobby. A lot of times they have packages with just scrap leather in them, and that's where this has come from. I have cut out two that I want to make into book plates. So I'm just going to kind of line this up just to see how wide a piece of leather I need. And then let me just make a cut here. I want to use my paper trimmer, I think, for this. We'll see. Hopefully this will go through it just so I can get a straighter cut. But if you like using your scissors, yeah, by all means do that. I'm going to try and just cut this. Oh yeah, this cuts very good, I think. Well, maybe not. Let's see. Let's try it again. Well, at least it's going to be enough that, yeah, I can pull it apart. Okay, perfect. And I want to make sure that both sides are straight. So this side does not seem very straight. So let's just trim some of that off as well. And then let's take our two pieces. Let's see, I'm going to make sure we have them. And we'll just cut some leather strips that these will go on to. Now, I have stitched on mine like I had showed you. If you don't do any sewing, just glue it on. Yeah, there's no reason you have to stitch. I like adding stitching to my projects. I think it just adds an additional texture and just a fun element onto your project. But if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't like stitching, then by all means, you know, just do whatever it is that you like and what you have in your crafty space. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ink these up, and then I'll just lightly glue these down, and then I'll go and stitch them. So again, I am using scorched timber. I think this goes very well for these embellishments. So just use, whatever you have. If you don't have this particular distress ink, use one that you like. I think this one just gives it a darkness. If you have ground espresso, that would be another one that would be great. And there we go, all inked. I'm just going to carefully, just lightly glue these down, and then I'm going to stitch around them. So I'll just add some glue into the center, making sure I have it centered on my leather piece, like so. Okay, and again, the same thing on this one. I love this one. I think that's going to make a very cool book plate. And I like the way this is frayed here on the leather pieces after using the paper trimmer. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to go stitch. Okay, I have stitched around both of these. You can see it probably better from the back. It came out really good. And I'm using just like a cream color so you can actually kind of see the stitching. I figured the brown would probably blend in too much. Now you can also round the corners, which is what I did on this one. And all I did was just take my scissors and just kind of round the corners as best as I could. I don't believe this would go into any kind of a punch. If you don't want round corners, you don't have to do this. I just thought with the book plate, it might look better if that had a little bit around the corners. So just, yeah, just do the best you can. And again here. So I think that looks better, having the rounded corners. And these book plates can go on the front of a journal. I think that would be a great addition if you had a journal that you were working on, that you wanted to have a book plate on. And feel free to stamp on these. You know, you could stamp journal or whatever it is you want to put on there as the front of your journal. You surely can do that. So let me just clean this up a little bit. All right, so as in the sample, we're just going to add some brads. So I'm just going to use a micro punch that I have. It's just a little bit bigger than a real tiny punch. And I'm going to just do it on this one right inside where it shows, hopefully, there we go, where it shows the eyelids here. And then we're going to add brads. So got that. And on this one, I really like that, but I think I'm going to go ahead and add a brad over the top of that as well. Kind of center it as much as I can. And then make sure when you're putting your holes in that you're not going into the stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and add 4 on this one too. I love the shape of this one. And it's just kind of like wonky stitching on there, so I love that. Okay, we have to trim off a little bit off the back, just because the punch doesn't take it all out on all of them. So let me just clean that up a little bit. And then we're going to add our brads. These are brads that I got off of Amazon. They came in a huge package, and they're great for this kind of project because they have a high head on them. So if you're going to put this maybe inside your journal, you may want to use one that's flatter. But for the front of a journal as a book plate, this would be perfect. Oh yeah, that looks good. Just a little metal element. And again, if you don't have brads, you don't have to put them on. These would be just as pretty the way they are because of all the detail that's already on it. And then let's put 4 in this one. Whoops. This. They're real easy to put on. And then just press them down really good. Now, if this were going in to be like a pocket or something, then I would definitely add some tape to the back. But since these are more for the front of a journal, you would be gluing them in place. You really wouldn't need to add any tape. So just keep that in mind if you're going to make these. Okay, so here's our first project. We have made book plates. So here's this one. And this one. And if you wanted to, you could do another stitching around it. There's so many things you could do with these. Okay, let's move on to our next project. Okay, for the next project, very simple project. And this is just a brad twist. So this is something that you could clip onto a journal. These can move around, so it's kind of interactive. Very simple project. Now I made this extremely simple. However, you could stitch around each piece and add some texture to it. You could also maybe add a piece of fabric or lace or anything like that. But I wanted to make these as simple as possible, especially if you're new and you want just something simple to do. So we are going to put this one together. First thing we're going to do is ink it. Again, scorched timber works the best on this. Now, if I were to do this probably for something I'm working on, I would probably stitch around it, but in this case, this particular one has already stitching on it. She has already added stitching into this beautiful tag. Okay, so ink it all up really good. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink the back as well. And again, these are all mounted on craft cardstock because my matte photo paper isn't as thick. So I wanted to make sure they were sturdy enough and that they wouldn't bend or anything like that and get wrinkled up. So just ink both sides or use the backing papers that come with the kit. Okay, very simple project now. We're going to be using a crocodile and we're going to add some eyelets. Nope, not on this one, I'm sorry. We're going to just add a brad. Very, very simple. So let me grab my other brads that I want to use, which are these. And I believe these are Tim Holtz ones. So let me just grab one that's a darker color. Yeah, this one. Okay, very simple project. Just use your crocodile, and I'm using the small setting. Now, if you didn't have a crocodile, you can use just a pokey tool, something like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink around the centers of these just so there's no white showing. Okay, very simple project. Now decide how you want it layered. Do you want this one in the front? Do you want this skinny one in the middle? However you want to layer it. And then all you have to do is add your brad. So I'm going to layer it like this. I like having that long skinny one kind of in the center. Press it down really good, and there you have your tab twist. There you go. Project number 2, very simple to do. And again, you can add stitching or whatever other elements you want to. Maybe you want a stamp on it. Yeah, feel free to be creative. So let's move on to our next project. Okay, for this one, we're going to do a hidden paper clip. And this is pretty easy to do. These, depending on if they're vertical or horizontal, you can have them go at the top of the page like I spoke about or to the side. So I think these are going to end up going to the side. So what you'll need is 2 pieces of cardstock that is twice the length of your first piece. And you can adjust it after you fold it. So these particular ones I have made, for this particular one, is 3.5 inches long. And because of the size of the tag, they're just under 2 inches. Okay, fold this piece in half. And then burnish that down and fold this piece in half and press that down. So now you've got these 2 pieces like this. So I'm going to be making this one. First thing I want to do is ink up all the edges on my piece that is going to go on the front and the back. Now let's see here. This one can actually go vertical, but I want to do it as a side. So what you're going to do is take these 2 pieces, and let's go ahead and ink them up as well. We may have to trim a little bit or round some corners, but let's just go ahead and do this first. Okay, so what you do is when you fold them in half, then you take the 2 middle pieces and add your paper clip. I'm just using a large paper clip, but don't push it all the way down. So take it about to where that much is sticking out. And then you will take your pieces, so this is going to be on a side, and these are going to get glued onto the front and to the back. And if your pieces aren't exactly the same size, you can adjust it as necessary. Actually, this one looks pretty good, but I do want to round the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on these two pieces before I glue them down. So I'm going to take my corner rounder, and let's see, I think I'll use this one, which is the 7mm. So it's like the medium size one if you have one of these. And then let's ink again. All right, now let's put our two pieces back together and add our paper clip. And again, leave some of that and make sure it's in the center so you have that. First thing you want to do is, if you're going to stitch, then go ahead and stitch around these pieces. I did stitch around these. So I am going to go ahead and stitch around these, and then we'll come back and we'll do the assembly. Okay, I've done stitching, so you can see that. And then I went ahead and did the stitching on the second one that I'm going to put together, and this one I'm going to do as vertical, so you can get a feel for how it is vertical and horizontal. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to glue our pieces on. Now, these aren't exactly, well, these two are, but these two are not exactly the same size, but it doesn't really matter. You can also add a backing paper underneath it. You've got all of that in the kit, so if you decide you want to do that, you can. I just inked the edges. Yeah, so just whatever you want to do on it. So let's go ahead and glue these down. First thing we want to do is glue the inside. So with your two pieces like this, we are going to glue each side to it, and then this becomes the opening for the tab. So let's go ahead and put glue all around here. A little bit on the paper clip. This will hold it once it's secured. And then press this down and hold it until it grabs. Just press it down. The good thing about art glitter glue is it doesn't take long to dry. So there's our first one. You can see that that is pretty secure. Let me add just, nope, I think we're good. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So add your glue. And then press it down. Okay, so now we've got our base for our hidden paper clip. Now we just need to glue the pieces on the front and the back. So this will be a side one. So let me grab something that I can show you. So this will go on the side like this. Okay, so let's glue these down. And I'm just centering it. Just do the best you can on these. Okay, and then the back side. Just make sure whatever rotation you have, whether it's horizontal or vertical, that you've got them going the right way. And right side up. Yeah, I want to make sure of that. And again, I'm just centering it best I can and then pressing it down good. So there we have it. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Now this one is going to be a vertical. So this piece is a little bit smaller, but that's okay. I just matched them up as best as I could based on what was in the kit. And again, you can use the backing papers if you wish. Oops, I need to glue this down first. So that first. Getting ahead of myself here. Okay. This side. And this side. I hope you guys give these a try. It's a beautiful kit that Andrea has put together. Okay, so this could be a top loading. Now on this one, we'll see how it's going to go when we go to add the dangle. I haven't tried it with this, so we'll try it together. Push this on. Hopefully it's just going to dangle over the front. Usually when I do the top loading ones, there's no paper clip showing. But I wanted to try something a little different. Okay, so now we've got our pieces on. Whoops, it's centered. There we go. And then we're going to do our dangle. And for that, we just need to have an eyelet. So I've got some small eyelets here that I just got. So let's go ahead and use our crocodile using this small setting and punch our hole. So I'm going to use this one and this one. Oops. And then let's go ahead and put our eyelet in. And then press it down. And I've got the small setting set on my crocodile. Let's see, let me try different settings. So get it down just a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then let's get this one on. Oops, almost lost it. There we go. These are just a tad bigger than the hole. That's okay. I did get these on Amazon as well. And press that down. Okay, so we have our two tags, and then I'm just using bulb pins. So right through here and hooked onto here. Very simple. You don't even need a jump ring. So there's this one, and this is your side tab. Let me grab my paper. Okay, so here's your side one. So just like that. And we've got it for both sides. Now you can ink the back of this, or you can back it. Something I didn't do was ink it, so let me just do that real quick. There we go. And now we've got our dangle. So there's one page tab, and let me just go ahead and ink this one as well. And then this is the top loading, so let's just see how this is going to work. Hopefully, it'll work. I think it does. Okay, so this one you can put at the top of your journal and have it peeking out and still have a dangle on it. That came out really good. Okay, so these are our page tabs, or excuse me, hidden paper clips, like a page tab actually, but a little different because you have the paper clip inside. So that is those. Let's move on to our next project. Okay, let's do some page tabs. So this is our page tab, and this is the part that fits over the side of your page. You could also do it at the top as well, depending on how you like it. So I'm going to show you how to do a couple of different ones. They're pretty easy to do. There's really no gluing at all. We're just going to ink. So again, using scorched timber for this kit. And I'm just going to make sure I've got all the edges inked up good, even though you probably won't see the inside. I still want to have some of those edges inked. So for this one, this can go actually either way. You could have it as a top page tab or a side. So the first thing we want to do is put them together. Now these happen to match pretty well. They were in the kit this way. And then I'm going to use my crocodile, use the larger setting, and punch my hole. I'm going to ink that up both sides. You can do stitching on these as well. I'm not going to do any stitching, just going to make these pretty simple. And then we're going to use an eyelet and put it together. So you don't want to glue these together. The whole purpose of these is that you will be able to put them on your page and glue them onto your page. So all you need is an eyelet. Let me go to the bigger setting now. And you're going to put the eyelet through both pieces, just making sure whichever piece you have is the right side on both sides. Put that on and crimp it down. Just like that. So then what happens is you take your page and this goes on to the side like that and you glue that on. So that's how these work. So I'm going to do this one, and let's go ahead and do this one so we're at the same level. Now this one is a long piece, and I thought it'd be fun to use this. So I'm going to fold it in half carefully and burnish it. So if you have a long piece like this, you really don't need to have two pieces. Now I'm going to go ahead and ink this because some of this will peek out. So if I ink it, then that will suffice. Again, use a backing paper from the kit if you would like to. Ink both sides of this. So this ends up going on your page like this. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, this would not work. So yeah, this one would not work only because here's where the eyelet would go. So you would almost have to cut this piece in half. We can work through that. Let's do that. We'll just cut it right in half and then we can create it. I think that'll work then. I was trying to give it some thought, and until I actually work on it, I can see where it wouldn't work. Okay, now it'll work. Yeah, so we've got our page tab this way. Okay, let's move on. Let's go ahead and let me just clean this up a little bit right here. And let me ink that. Okay, now we can put them together and it will be a page tab. Okay, so punch the hole. I'm going to use this. Just punch the hole and then add our eyelet. See, I'm glad we got to work through this one together. And set this one. Now we've got it as a page tab. Let me just straighten this out. And clean this up. Okay, perfect. Now we got it on our page, same way, and then we've got both sides. So we've got the gentleman on this side, and you've got the writing on this side. Okay, we worked through that one. Great. Okay, so I think I want to add a couple of dangles, and we'll just use, again, our crocodile, small setting. Use these two. And our small eyelets. A couple of those. And our small setting again. There we go. Okay, so let's set these. Oh, let's ink it first. All right, there we go. Okay, now let's set our eyelets. Okay, just one. All right. And then we're just going to use, again, a bulb pen. And on these, put them right through our eyelet, just like that. So we've got one dangling here, and then this one. And you can back these little tags also. Maybe you can even find a couple that are the same size and do them back to back. So that's an option for you. All right. And there's our page tabs. So put these back on. Now you would glue these on, and then these would dangle out the side, just like this one. There we go. Okay, let's move on to our last project. Okay, our last project is just a dangle, something that you can use the bulb pin. You can also put it onto lace, hang it in your journal, put it on the front of the journal, tuck it into a pocket. So there's a variety of things you can do with these. Again, you can do stitching on these. I'm not going to do the stitching on these particular ones. I'm just going to ink them all up and then put them together using some eyelets, bulb pin, and some of this curly ribbon from Scrap Cabin. So there's going to be 3 pieces for each dangle. So I have just cut out 3 that I thought went together well. These are all pertaining to the theater. So I thought that would be kind of fun to group these all together. Make sure I get the back of these done. Again, you can back these with some of the backing papers. Just get creative. Do these together, and then this is our last project. Then we'll take a look at all the ones that we have done today. And hopefully you'll give this a try. Go out to Polka Art Studio, check out their Etsy shop. She also has a YouTube channel, and I will link all of that below so you can go check her out. She's been doing all kinds of fun projects, and her digitals are absolutely gorgeous. Okay, I think we've got them all inked. All right, so we're just going to add some eyelets. And I'm just going to use these eyelets that I have. Set this to the larger setting again. And I'm just going to be using the large side of this crocodile. I'm just going to make all the holes all at one time. And then we'll put them together. Again, a very simple project. This one doesn't have a place for it, but I'm just going to do it right centered like this. And I'm just following all the rest of these where they have the digital eyelid in there. I'll just get out there so I can see. All right, and let's go ahead and put all the eyelets. And again, these are all eyelets that are digital in here. So if you didn't have eyelets and if you didn't have a crocodile, you could just do these by punching a hole. You could add reinforcements, paper reinforcements. You can get those. You can just make sure you get the ones that are paper, not plastic, and then you can use your distress inks if you have those or other inks and dye them. So there's lots of options to make these if you don't have the eyelets and you don't have a crocodile. Okay, let's put them together. So I think I want this one with coat check and admit one, and I want these with this. So these are all centered around going to the theater. Okay, now we're just going to take some of this curly ribbon. Find the end here again. I love this ribbon. I use it a lot. Well, let's see, where's my end at? Okay, I'm just going to cut some pieces. Just enough to tie through and have a dangle, so let me just cut a couple pieces off here. And then let me grab my tweezers and we'll just start poking these through. So I just start with the front, poke it through, go to the next one, and through the last. And then all you have to do, I just make sure they're even, and then just tie a knot. And try to do it a little bit loosely so that they will move. So don't do it too tight. So I'm trying to just give it some wiggle room there, and then I'm going to tie another knot here. And then I'm just going to pull it up. So this way they dangle and they can move about. And then if you want to add it to some trim you already have in your journal, just add a bulb pin. So I'm just going to take the bulb pin, and now you have a dangle that you can add into your journal. So there's this one. And let's go ahead and put this one together, same way. It's easy when you've got some tweezers. Poke it through, and again, we're just going to tie it loosely so they can dangle. So what I'm doing is I'm not going all the way down. So maybe about like so, and then tie your knot. And then that way you've got a little bit of a gap there. Let me just show you that. So you see you've got that gap. And then add your bulb pin. Just like that. So these are our dangles. Okay, let's look at all the ones that we have made now. We made some book plates. So we have all these. This one. And then this is the one I did initially. That was a sample. We have our, let's go ahead and just do our dangles. So we have our dangles that we did. These are our page tabs that we did. show you that again. Page tabs. These are our hidden paper clips. So you've got a horizontal on the side of the page or at the top of the page. And then this is one that I had done previously. And then these are our tag twists, just done with a brad. And they can twist either way. Okay, I hope you got some inspiration from all of this. And again, I will link the kit, I will link the Etsy shop, and I will also link Polka Art Studio, YouTube, and the kits that I've used. I will link all of that below. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. God bless you all, and we'll see you at the next video. Bye.